The Deep Media Pulse, Decoding Brand and Content Evolution, a video podcast powered by Licensing Magazine and Animation Journal. Thierry Baujard, co-founder of Spielfabrique, is the guest of our new episode. With him, we explore the cross-media content ecosystem, unpacking the main elements that will characterize the near future of gaming. In particular, Thierry discusses the potential risks and possibilities that working across countries could bring.
Good morning, I'm Veronica Arciari and welcome to Media Pulse, the first video podcast dedicated to the evolution of content, IPs and brands produced by Licensing Magazine and Animation Journal. I'm very happy to have with us Thierry Baujard, who is a co-founder at Spielfabrique. And now we will have the pleasure to talk with Thierry about the future of children's media, specifically taking a look at the gaming industry. So first I would ask Thierry to introduce himself and discuss what you do at Spielfabrique.
Thank you. So yes, my name is Thierry Baujard. I'm the co-founder of Spielfabrique, which is a company based in Düsseldorf and Berlin in Germany. And we've been existing for 10 years, and we are focusing basically on developing business mentoring program and acceleration program for the video game industry. So helping around 60, 80 studios every year from all over Europe, but also beyond, like in Brazil or in Africa. And then in the last 3 years, we've been developing many cross-sectorial programs, linking basically video games with books, of course, licensing books, like in Bologna, also in Frankfurt, but also with music, also with cinema, with film and TV, and so trying to bring some partnership between the gaming sector that is quite big, as you know, it's bigger than music and film together, with other sectors that are very close and where people work on transmedia.
So discussing, cross-media, there was just now a very interesting discussion at the licensing conference room where you took part, and I would ask you to talk about what you think is the secret or are the secrets to a sustainable cross-media content ecosystem, especially in Europe.
I'm not sure there are many secrets about it, to be honest. I think it's a lot about having good IPs, having really intellectual property that are really relevant, that are really interesting, where people can trust, especially for kids, I would say. That's very strong. And of course, to have a distribution strategy that works very well. I mean, when we talk about cross-media, it means, okay, it could be a game, but it could be also a book, it could be also a TV program or a film. And the question is, how do you create a program, a cross-media campaign with this different type of media in a better way, and that you get financing for that. And one difficulty, I would say, is about the financing for cross-sectorial projects. Today, most of the financing is really focused on one medium, so like a film or a game or a book. But today, to have this approach of cross-sectorial funding is really something that is not there. It's coming. Many people now are looking into that because they focus on this IP development and not just a film or a game. But I think Europe could be really very good because we have a lot of talents, a lot of very good creators about that. But we are not so good into this distribution model and also accessing to financing that is not so in silo, but more like working on these different media basically.
And now let's delve into gaming. How would you define the current industry? What is that you could say is the current trends? What do you see in Spielfabrique that you would think would be interesting to share with Media Pulse?
So the gaming industry is still growing, less than it used to, and especially during the COVID time, of course, but it's still growing, and there are very different types of games in terms of device, for example. So you have mobile games with a different business model, you have PC game, console games that are very different in terms of size and also, as I say, the business model. I think what is interesting today, what we see is really the interesting part coming from indie game developers. So game developers that are are smaller maybe than what we used to have for big studio, but have very good ideas and that have, thanks to engine, to develop the games, thanks to AI as well, have the ability to create games that are really competing with the big games, what we call AAA games. But in fact, that is very, very liked by a lot of gamers. And also, of course, we have more and more casual gamers, so people who are not playing all the time, but they are playing, some on the train, on doing something else. And these people, they want to play other types of games. So there is really an openness to a diversity of many different types of games. You may know that the average of gaming is now around 31, 32 years old. So it's not really just for young people. And that, I think it's the number is also around 51 or 55% of Europeans are playing games in general. So it's something that now spread to everybody. So thanks to the platform where you can access this game, you can access at the same place indie games or AAA games. So I think that's a very good opportunity to access some interesting games.
So Spielfabrique is, as the name itself says, is a collaboration between France and Germany. Like started as a France and Germany project, and you work with a lot of different countries, and so I would be curious to know how do collaborations between co-productions around countries impact projects, like cross-media projects in general? Would you say what are the strengths of collaborations between countries, and what are the challenges that they pose? And also in the talk, there was an interesting point of view around the relationship between Europe and the US at the moment. So how does that also play? Like, how do these collaborations between countries play in the gaming industry?
So in fact, in the gaming industry, co-production from smaller studio, from indie studio, is not so developed yet. It's in fact quite developed by the big companies who have different studios and work together. We've been developing a co-production market for video game for the last 6 or 7 years now, and it's definitely growing. And the indie game studio need to collaborate much more. Today they are not so used because they've not been educated to collaborate so much. They tend to also think that they can do everything alone, okay? Which sometimes is true, of course, but most of the time it could be good to access other expertise, other funding, other distribution models, etc. from other countries. The difference with the audiovisual sector is that, of course, the audiovisual sector is based a lot about location, where you shoot things, etc., which is not the case in game, a little bit like animation. But the difference as well is on the distribution. Audiovisual is based on territories, so you sell different territories, so that's why you do co-production a lot, to access different markets, for example. Game is global by essence, so it's always sold everywhere in the world. So this question of territory is a little bit different. Having said that, it's clear today that for indie, especially in Europe, if they want to really develop good games, versus America or Asia, they need to collaborate more. They need to develop more projects together. So there are some challenges, definitely, because people are not used to that. It's different languages, different access to funding, etc. But definitely in the last years that we've been doing that, there are more and more collaboration. And in particular, the people who have done, they want to do it again, because they see that, in fact, it helps them to grow instead of trying to do everything on their own. So for indies, it's really very, very important. But there are still some discussion also for the different funds. They are quite open to co-production now, and open. They can do co-production. There's no question. But some are a bit reluctant about how we can work together. But that is also changing quite a lot. We have now many countries who say, yes, it would be really interesting to bring things together. I'm going to Brazil in 2 days, and we're doing a program there. And one of the big part that they want is to see how to create collaboration between Europe and Brazil, for example. And I think it's going to take a bit of time. I guess we've started already a little bit about that the last 2 years, but it's definitely something that people want to do.
Well, have fun in Brazil, and thank you, Thierry, for being with us today and sharing your interview. And thank you guys for listening. I'll see you in the next episode of Media Pulse.
You've just listened to the Deep Media Pulse, Decoding Brand and Content Evolution, a video podcast powered by Licensing Magazine and Animation Journal. Thank you for listening, and see you in the next episode.